Welcome to this week's video, and this week we look at Giovanni Bellini's Transfiguration of Christ, which was painted around 1480 and is now kept in the Naples Museo di Capodimonte. So first of all, who was Giovanni Bellini? He was one of the most influential Venetian artists of his time, and he lived and worked in Venice all his life at the end of the 15th century. And he was born in a dynasty of renowned painters, so painting basically ran through his veins and through the family. And Bellini painted very few secular paintings. Yes, one of his portraits is extremely famous, which is the Doge Leonardo Loredan, which is kept at the National Gallery in London. So a lot of you might be familiar with that portrait. But hey, here we're talking about the Transfiguration in Christ. So let's delve into that into a bit more detail. The Transfiguration of Christ is an episode that is featured in all three synoptic gospels, so Matthew, Luke and Mark, and also is covered in the catechesis, which gives us a bit more background of what exactly it is. And so I quote, "The Transfiguration gives us a foretaste of Christ's glorious coming, when he will change our lowly body to be like his glorious body." But let's look in detail at the composition. So we see, of course, Christ at the center in the top row of three figures, and then the bottom row are the three apostles that are being depicted there. So Peter, James and John, which are in the lower part of the painting. But the upper part, the upper half, centered by Christ. And then we have Moses, which is at Christ's right hand side, head cloaked with a Jewish prayer shawl and holding a scroll with the Hebrew name Menachem bar Moshe, which means Menachem, son of Moses. And then on the left of Jesus we see Elijah holding a scroll with the words in Hebrew, which translate as "God will gather my people." And then looking a bit more in the background, we see two of Ravenna's monuments. We see the mausoleum of Theodoric and the bell tower of San Apollinare in Classe. And then, which I actually quite like, that is intersected with just tranquil scenes from everyday life. So we see a shepherd with an oxen, villagers, a Muslim and another character in heated discussion. And that's particularly sort of the bit that I like in this painting, is that this Muslim person there and another character, and you can see that they're sort of in a very heated discussion. So yes, I think composition wise as well, yes, you have the three rows, but Christ is almost centered in a triangular way, heading and spearheading the composition of the painting. The Transfiguration of Christ was celebrated in the Byzantine world from the 6th century, and it was initially represented through symbols. And in this mosaic that we're showing here from Ravenna's Basilica di Santa Apollinare in Classe, the blue circle with the gold stars represents the Transfiguration, and we can also see Elijah and Moses, who are depicted kneeling, whilst three lamps represent the apostles. And then also worth noting is that Bellini is actually one of the first sort of adopters of the new medium of oil paint for him to execute this painting. And the big difference between tempera and oil paint is that with oil paint you can juxtapose layers upon layers upon layers and get that sort of depth of field. And we see a very good illustration here in the green grassy foreground, and also in the clouds and the skies. By way of conclusion, I also want to note that in 2002, then Pope John Paul II added the luminous mysteries to the Rosary, and the Transfiguration is one of them, the moment when Jesus revealed himself as God's Son. So it's an old theme that was not often used in art history, but I think it's been brought back up to date and right at the center of our prayer life by Pope John Paul II in 2002. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.